Thank you, WCAT, and good evening, Winthrop, and welcome to the Town Council meeting of June 2nd, 2020, which is now opened at 7 p.m. I'm going to give you all the call-in number so you can call in during the public hearing on the budget, during public comment for 3 minutes at the beginning and at the end of the meeting. This meeting is being held remotely. Each person is at their own home, and it will be shown on WCAT Live, and it will be rebroadcast during the week. Okay, I would now like to have everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And Denise, you said you have a new flag picture?
Larissa, you got the flag?
If not,
There you go.
all right. That's much better than my little one. All right, Rob DeMarco, would you please lead us in it?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. DeMarco. Can we please have a roll call?
Council Ruggiero.
Here.
Council Flockhart. Okay, Councilor DeMarco.
Here.
Council Christopher.
Here.
Council Honan.
Here.
Council Farino.
Here.
Councilor Conti.
Present.
Vice President Lettieri.
Yeah.
President Boncory.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes of the May 19th, 2020 meeting.
Motion.
Motion by Council Farino. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jim Lettieri. Any discussion on the minutes? There any amendments? Any corrections? Hearing none, all those in favor, please take a roll call and vote yes.
Council Ruggiero.
Yes.
Council Flockhart. Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Council Christopher.
Yes.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Councilor Conti.
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Under general information and recommendations, there are quite a few things that have happened in the past couple of days, and I want to make it clear to everyone in Winthrop as to what's going on now. The EOC, or Emergency Operating Center, is closed as of now. The EOC is now being taken over by Meredith Turley of the Health Department, and the Health Department will be meeting in the area where the EOC was being held. The Winthrop Food Bank is also no longer open, but we are very concerned about people that need food. And I just left 3 minutes before the start of this meeting, a presentation by the Winthrop Foundation. I was there at the Winthrop Foundation trustees and Speaker DeLeo and Senator Boncory, and a check was presented for $26,000 by the foundation for food for Winthrop citizens. And that food will be accessible by calling the Winthrop Community Food Pantry at 222 Bowden Street, and the number is 617-846-6884. Also at the Winthrop Veterans Food Bank at 617-846-3065, or by getting in contact with Mia More at www.miamore.org/contact us, and they will be able to get you food or gift certificates to purchase food. We also want everybody to know that the marketplace, the Winthrop Marketplace, is now delivering groceries. So if you need groceries and you You want to buy your groceries from the Winthrop Marketplace, they will provide free delivery. So if you can't get out of your house or you don't want to go into a store to purchase groceries, the Winthrop Marketplace will deliver if you call them at 617-846-6880. Now, again, the number to call in if you want to be heard during public comment or during the public hearing on the budget, please call in number 312-626-6799. Once you join the Zoom, the ID number, which you will have to put in, is 8698-754-3603. I will announce that number again just before public comment. The governor made a proclamation today about outdoor dining. And what he did is he left it up to the chief executive officer of each city or town to make a rule for their city or town. And I want to read a piece of his memorandum that came out today. And it says, notwithstanding the provisions of Chapter 48 of the general laws or any special permit, variance, or other approval thereunder, or any other general or special law to the contrary, a city or town may approve requests for expansions of outdoor table service, included in the description of licensed premises as described below. Prior to such approval, the mayor or chief executive office, as established by the charter or special act, shall establish the process for approving such request. Such process does not need to comply with the notice and publication provisions of Chapter 11 of Chapter 40A. Therefore, I'm making an executive order that we will be able to have outside dining immediately. There is a process, though. Each restaurant in town must prepare a plan and submit it to the local licensing authority. That plan would include your seating and whether or not you intend to serve alcohol. The local licensing authority will be approving these immediately. They will not have to go to the ABCC for prior approval, but a list of restaurants that are operating outdoor table service will be sent to the ABCC. Regulations that we're setting forth is that there will be tables spaced at least 6 feet apart, that there will be no more than 6 people to a table, hopefully all family members, and that you will be able to put awnings, heating, lights, heating systems around your tables at your outdoor seating. You will not be able to put a closed-in tent. If you put up a tent, you will have to take down at least 50% of the sides. It has to be 50% open according to the governor's decree. But they will be able to get your applications in to town hall as soon as possible, showing the planning board, showing the licensing board what you intend to do. This will be supervised by, of course, the Board of Health and our Inspectional Services Department to make sure that you're following the rules. But as soon as you can get your plans in, you can get your outdoor dining, seating prepared. I have thought about areas where we possibly could have this outdoor dining because it should be contiguous parking lots, sidewalks, without blocking sidewalks, so that people that are in wheelchairs, ADA accessible, can still get by the sidewalks, still can get by the parking lots, still can get by any handicap parking. But I think one area where we could do that is the Hagman Road extension. And I'm looking, and I talked to Steve today about blocking that Hagman Road extension off. So La Siesta, Hong Kong Dragon, Viking Pub, and Blackstrap could set up some tables there. And any other restaurant that has an area where they think they could put some outdoor dining, please get your plan in as soon as possible to the licensing board through Denise Quiston, and we'll get you going. Okay, anybody on the council have any questions on that?
I have one question, Phil. I think it's a great idea. I applaud your leadership on it. And my only question would be, are these, I don't know if you want to call it a license, are they going to be for a specific time period? Is it going to be, these restaurants going to be able to keep this when
No,
they
I
have 25%
apologize.
of indoor?
I should have announced that. This is only good until November 1st of 2020. And then it has to be revisited. We'd either have to put a new ordinance in. The licensing board and the Rules and Ordinance Committee have been working on an ordinance for the past couple of weeks. We didn't need to pass the ordinance because this rule gave executive power to do it. But there is an ordinance that they've been putting together. This order only lasts until November 1st. And part of the order was for indoor dining, that restaurants should be starting to get ready and prepare and set up their plans for the indoor dining, which is going to be following, I would think, in another week or so. So outdoor dining is open, indoor dining is not. The order by the governor told them to prepare for when it's opening, and they can go in and clean their restaurants and set them up for the indoor dining when it does come through. All right. Any other questions on that issue?
Just one follow-up on the, if somebody has seating available outside near their restaurant, that's fantastic. If it's on a street like Hagman Road Extension, is that going to be just night, or is that going to be closed until November 1st?
Well, it's going to be closed until November 1st. The situation is if people said, and this is in the governor's order as well, which I hope everyone would read, that if someone sets up tables and chairs out there and don't use them for 4 days in a row, they're not being used, they have to take them down. Otherwise, they can leave up those tables and chairs from now until November 1st. And, you know, I think it's a boon trying to give something back to an industry that has really suffered tremendously because of this COVID-19 issue. And I think the governor's trying, and I think we in Winthrop want to try as well to help our business people and to help our citizens get out and get some fresh air and get a good meal sitting at a table. Is there anything else anyone wants to say about it? And if you want to comment on it under public comment again, that number is 312-626-6799 with an ID number of 869-875-43603. Okay. All right, if no other questions from the council, let us move on to public hearing. We're now open a public hearing on the continued public hearing on Winthrop's budget for fiscal year 21. This is an open public hearing. Is anyone online looking to ask questions? I see one chat.
That's just from Larissa.
Does anyone have any questions?
Wendy
Denise,
Millard.
are we
has
getting
one.
any calls?
Hi, this Wendy Millar's on for public
Okay.
comment.
Oh, this is
Hi,
not public
regarding-
comment. This is a public hearing on the budget, Wendy.
Yes, regarding the budget, I'm just lending my voice in support of somehow finding additional support for our Board of Health. I know that our budget is very tight and has a lot of constraints. However, as someone who very, very much appreciates how they helped me through COVID, I understand the amount of work that they've done and will need to continue to do if we have any kind of second wave. And Meredith is one person. And I would hope that somehow in the budget, and I know we're looking at it through a grant or through other ways, but to make it a permanent position, if not now, definitely in the next round. That's all.
Anyone else in the public hearing? In the public hearing, any questions of the council? I see a call in. Is there another call in, Larissa?
Let me check here. Caller, do you have any comments on the budget? Oh, that one. Let me go to the next person here. Hi, caller, do you have any comments on the budget? Council President, I don't see any other hands up or anybody waiting to comment.
Okay. Councilors, any questions on the budget?
Council President?
Yes?
We as the Finance Commission, Finance Committee have been working incredibly hard in this budget, as well as Town Manager Faison and CFO, Assistant Town Manager. I know as of a week ago, I think the Town Manager and CFO made some really prudent decisions in light of the situation that is affecting us all, as well as the state, and have reduced our anticipated revenues in terms of state aid and in terms of local receipts, which is, we think, something that's very prudent and very well thought out, but it's obviously taken a little of time for the Finance Commission to get through all the information. And I think the Town Manager and CFO are still working on some details of the budget. I will be asking for a motion, if I could do it now or shortly thereafter, to
I think if we're going to do a motion, we do it under new business, Jim.
okay, we'll do it under new business, because as of the charter, we would be voting on a budget tonight in a timely manner, and I don't think we're ready to do that, so we would like to make sure we have adequate time to do that. So I will be making a motion under new business. And to answer one of the questions by Wendy, and maybe the Town Manager could speak about it also, but we're very cognizant, I know the Finance Commission is, and I know the Town Manager is as well, about the help needed at the public health, and but we're trying to do it correctly in order to be able to use money that is out there for COVID relief. So we definitely have heard your comments, and we definitely have that on our radar to take care of and to address.
Boston, you want to speak on the budget at all?
Would you like me to speak when later on in the item, or I'm good speaking whenever. So briefly, Assistant Town Manager Friedman and I went back on the budget. We had gone back on it before we presented in April, and we went back on it again to present to the Finance Commission. Last week, we had presented over $1 million worth of reduction in revenue, mostly focused on local excise things. So motor vehicle excise tax, we don't expect as many cars to be sold, hotel, motel, those types of things. We're going to be posting all of these items online so people can look at them. But the way that between those items being reduced and the reduction in state aid that we're projecting, we are looking against those to have a transfer from the stabilization fund of a one-time transfer, as well as some reductions to the town side. We didn't include any reductions to the school side in either of these kind of like 2 rounds of adjustments that Anna and I have made together. Again, our main goal was to protect all the jobs possible. So we're not proposing any layoffs at this point in time, or staff reductions or anything like that. What we tried to do very hard was protect the positions that we have in-house, so that when the world does go back to normal, we're able to ramp things back up accordingly and staff our departments accordingly. With that, Anna, do you have anything that you wanted to include on this as well?
I'm not sure that I have much else to add other than if there are folks that have questions at a detailed level, happy to answer any detailed questions. The memo that was provided to the Finance Commission and the Town Council, as Austin noted, will be posted. Actually, I can get it up there this evening after the meeting. I was working on that earlier so that folks can see the detailed adjustments the town manager and I have recommended. I think it's also just important to know and to underscore that, of course, all of these things are still preliminary estimates based on the latest information we have from economists and what the financial outlook is going forward. And one of the major principles that we applied in making these adjustments was to ensure the short-term financial stability of the town and the services that are provided to the community, while also ensuring the long-term financial sustainability of the town, so that we don't want to jeopardize our bond rating and we don't want to undermine the ability for the town to deliver the services that the community needs.
Thank you, Anna. So yes, there are three major categories that we see reductions in revenue on. There are some smaller categories which we may be impacted on, and with that, we may be exploring furloughs. We've already been costing those out as well. If we have to look at that type of situation in fiscal 21 for one or more departments, we've been exploring the financial impacts of that. But again, we're looking to get a balanced budget passed that allows us to provide a level of service to the community that we need to as a municipal entity, and also to allow us to kind of move into the future. In terms of the items with the health, just to kind of explain that a little bit more, it's specified out in this memo that Anna put out, but what it basically entails is that we have CARES Act money in the local community that we can spend, and we are looking for different ways to utilize that money across the municipality. And what we are focused on right now with that is that in the public health, hello, honey, in public health related items and a public health director, we can actually use CARES Act money to fund that position and that department. So we are trying to leverage as much available money as possible to help us with our response to COVID-19, because although we have spent a fair amount of money to date, it's not going to stop. We need to retrofit all of our buildings so that people can still work in them. Oh my God, 1 second, sorry. Sorry about that. That's what happens when you work in your wife's office. Sorry about that. I totally lost my train of thought. Basically with the health, what we're doing is we can utilize that CARES Act money for health related things. If we budget more for the health department, that makes those funds unavailable to us to utilize for our health department. So most prudently right now, because of the tight financial situation that we're in, we should utilize CARES Act money to supplement the health department for the foreseeable future, at least through the end of this calendar year, and then supplement that budget accordingly, or with funds that are available with supplemental federal or state level funding. But for this point in time, we should not necessarily increase the budget through the general fund and tax funded revenue, because what we really need to do is utilize the money the most effective way possible. So I hope that explains that. Assistant Town Manager Friedman's memo will be online shortly. And we, again, are working as hard as possible to utilize our money to the best of our abilities under the auspices of what our auditors suggest and our legal representation has advised us on. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council President.
Yes.
And just to follow up on what Austin was just saying, there are definitely restrictions on the CARES Act money, and should not be used for anything that is a normal part of the budget, which is, I think, why it's important to look at items that not necessarily in the budget for fiscal 21, so we can use the CARES Act money.
Will the Finance Commission be ready to make its recommendation at our next meeting, and will everybody be ready to vote on it at our next meeting?
the plan, Council President, is the Finance Commission is meeting again tomorrow night and potentially one more night. We will have a recommendation by the beginning of next week. It has been the suggestion that the Finance Committee will be having one, if not two meetings prior to our vote, which will enable councilors to get possibly a better understanding if they have any questions at all that we might be able to discuss and even talk about possible amendments to streamline the process when we do actually vote on it. So there will be at least one more Finance Commission meeting tomorrow night. They will have a recommendation by either the end of this week or early next week. And there will be a scheduled Finance Committee public meeting, obviously, prior to our next meeting. And we should be ready to vote at our next meeting, whatever that date might be.
Thank you, Councilor Terry. Is there anyone in the public that's looking to speak during this public hearing on the budget?
Council President, do you want me to reach out to the callers again?
Do we have people raising their hand at the present time?
No, but if they're calling in from their phone, they don't have that ability.
Okay, well, we're moving right into public comment after this, and they'll be able to speak about the budget as well, again, under public comment. So I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for fiscal year budget 2021 until our next meeting.
Motion to continue.
Second.
Second. Motion by Councilor Terry, seconded by Councilor DeMarco. Please take a roll call.
Gerald.
Yes.
Council Flockhart. Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Council Christopher.
Yes.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Council Conti.
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Public comment is now open. You may speak on any subject whatsoever. Again, the number is 312-626-6799 with an ID number of 869-875-43603. I believe we have some people waiting online.
Yes, we have people raising their hands. Hold on one
Okay.
second. First one is Sarko. Sarko, you are unmuted.
Hello, Council. Can you hear me?
Yes, you have 3 minutes, Sacco.
3 minutes. Let me do my best to fit this in. Good evening, Council. I'm calling in tonight to ask you to vote no on the request made by the Lieutenant, a request which would allow a bypass of law. I believe it's important to highlight the fact that my request is one that is not asking for you to do anything other than ensure that everyone at our Civil Service Police Department plays by the same rules. As I and many others serve this community and build our careers, we do so believing in the rules that come with being an officer in a civil service department. We have faith in the fundamental fairness of the design of the system. My ask is simple. I believe it is moral. I also believe it's ethical and legal. And it takes others into consideration. Please keep my family, me, the other officers and their families in mind when you prepare to vote. If this is allowed, it's going to destroy the faith our officers have in being able to build a career at the Winthrop Police Department. That being said, I'm going to keep this short. Please vote no. I was always taught to begin with what is right. And if you do, everything works out in the end. This philosophy is what has brought me here before you today. In closing, I appreciate your time and your thorough consideration about something that I feel very strongly about. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sacco. You stated only 2 minutes. That was pretty good compared to the last one. All right. Anyone else?
Yes, we have Dawn Manning. Hold on.
Hello, Dawn? Hello?
I'm trying to get her unmuted here. Hold on.
Okay.
Dawn, it says you're not using an modern version of Zoom, and I cannot allow you to speak through this app. If you call back on the number, I can get you in. I see you, Dawn.
Dawn, said
Hold
she's
on.
muted.
Okay.
She's un-
All
All
right,
right,
let's
Dawn.
try again. Dawn, can you?
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay. I just want to briefly speak about the motion being made later about the parking stickers for the Point resident.
Oh, we lost you. Dawn, we lost your voice.
Residents, and I'm not just talking about one or two, I'm talking about all day, during the day, on nice beach days, during the week. People are coming in from early in the morning till late at evening. There's no social distancing, there's no mask wearing, and they're not families. They're groups of friends, they're groups of fishermen. We don't know who's checking.
We lost you again. Try to get back on, Dawn.
Or 5 hours later, there's just nowhere to park. And there's no resident stickers, and there's tons and tons of expired inspection stickers. And I understand there's registry issues, but there should be no issues with expired inspection stickers. And I don't know when the speed limit went up to 25 down here, but it was 20 for a very long time. And I would appreciate somebody looking into the fact when it all changed on Elliott and Taft's heading to the island, when that actually turned from 20 to 25, because I don't remember having any type of notification or anything from the state or the town that it was going to change. So that's another huge issue. So, but most importantly, that the residents down here are in dire need of something being done for our safety this summer. I mean, we are just totally overloaded, and that's it.
Thank you, Dawn.
Thank you.
And I have to say, I agree with her one part that we are still in a stay safe situation. COVID-19 is still an active disease, and people are getting it. New people are getting it. We had very few new people get it again in Winthrop. Thank God we haven't had any more deaths, and we've only had a few people that get it, but it's still an active, live disease. And Euro Beach has been mobbed on the hot days with groups of 50 kids hanging together. The rule on the beach is that you're supposed to be in groups of no more than 10. You're supposed to be 12 feet apart from any other group, and you're not supposed to be playing ball. And when you're not going in the water, you're supposed to be wearing a mask. But none of our young people are following that. So please, if you're an adult, talk to your youngsters. And if you're a young person, whether you're in school or out of school, you know, I see kids young people down there from ages of 13 to 25, 30, and they're not wearing masks. Please protect the people you might be bringing this home to, as well as yourself. And please try to follow the rules. I'm sorry, the police have not been bothering anybody. They've been on the beach. They have not been confrontational with anybody, but try to follow the rules, please. All right, any other callers?
Yes. Bonnie, if you unmute your phone, you're next for public comment.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, would you identify yourself? Hello, Bonnie? Did we lose her?
No, she's still on. We can come back to you, Bonnie. Next we have William. William, you want to unmute your phone?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for.
Is this
Thank you.
William Rice?
Yes, it is, sir.
All right, in precinct 3?
Yes, sir. I'm down at Point Shirley.
All right.
I want to thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak tonight. As I said, I live down in Point Shirley. I'm echoing a lot of the concerns that Dawn made earlier on her statement. On a daily basis, and especially on the weekends, Point Shirley is inundated with out-of-town visitors. They're here for all the obvious reasons to visit Ural Beach, Grandview Avenue, plane watching. They're visiting Deer Island, and they're also visiting a lot of the dead-end streets down here for fishing in Boston Harbor. None of them are residents. They're all out of town. We've seen a dramatic increase because of the closing of Revere Beach. We've seen a dramatic increase because of the closing of the parking at Deer Island. These out-of-town visitors have absolutely no regard for the limited parking that's down in our area. And you're all Winthrop residents, you know what I'm talking about. Point Shirley is very small streets and very limited parking. They will take any spot that's available. And sometimes they even haphazardly park and take up the space of 2 vehicles. I've approached some of these drivers myself and said, can you please park correctly so other people can use the spaces? And I've either been totally ignored or some of them have actually gotten confrontational. I haven't seen any enforcement down here at all as far as the parking or the visitor influx to the beaches or the areas down here. And I would think with the large influx of non-residents and the COVID-19 restrictions, I would think that the enforcement should be increased. None of these visitors have masks or practice any type of distancing. So I did send a request in to the town council about a month ago through the town website addressing these issues, but I didn't get any response. And I'm on this call tonight hoping that you will take our comments under advisement and take some serious action to put some type of parking program in place down here in Point Shirley to alleviate these problems. I thank you for your time.
Thank you, Bill. Is there anyone else?
We have some phone callers that I'll check and click on their numbers to see.
Let's not forget about Bonnie either, who we might want to go back to.
Right, I just messaged her.
I am here. Hear me?
Oh.
Hi,
yes,
Bonnie.
Bonnie, we hear you.
Hi, everyone. Thank
Bonnie,
you.
Are you one of the Holtons from Point Shirley as well?
I am, yes. I'm a little bit further down than everyone. I am even after the right on from Elliott to Taft. So I even go a little bit further down. The influx that we have in the inundation, it is frustrating as there is no parking. A lot of valid points that were brought up by Mr. Rice is there is no regard to how they park. We've had on my street where they've blocked driveways. I actually, when I come home from work, I have to sit on the side of the sidewalk and wait for a spot to open up. A lot of us have no driveway or a 1-car driveway. So you really have to sit in your car and wait for a spot to open up, which can be very frustrating. And just, I live on a dead end. And people that aren't from the area, you know that they're not, because they turn onto my street, which is a dead end, and they come down very fast, thinking that they're going to be able to go down to the end of the street and turn onto another, and they're not. So they're speeding down the street, then realizing and having to pull into someone's driveway to turn around. It also creates a safety issue because of that speeding and the amount of people on your small street when your child doesn't want to go outside because there are so many people on the street. They're not in masks, they're large groups, they're biking on your street, they're walking on your street, and you have no problem with that. You get the idea of fresh air. It's just, it's so much. You know, she's called me at work to tell me that people have been standing on my front lawn talking. And there's also the increase of people not cleaning up after dogs because they're walking their dogs. There's a lot of that. And it's hard because you choose to live down here because it is such a great neighborhood, but you do feel unsafe because of the amount of speeding and the amount of people that have inundated your neighborhood. So I truly hope that you can consider some type of program for this smaller part of the community.
Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you very much.
Next.
Council President, we have some phone callers as well. Caller with the last 3 digits, 627. Do you have any public comment? Caller with the last 3 digits, 772. Do you have any public comment? Caller with.
Hi. Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes,
Hi.
would you identify yourself, please?
Yes, Rosemary Fabiano Ottaviano.
How you doing, Rosemary?
Good. I'm going to get right to the point. I sympathize with the Point Shirley residents. However, I live on Bellevue Avenue at the center, and I've enjoyed Yarrow Beach with my family for many, many years. I have 2 requests. Right now, you have 2 handicap spaces in front of the beach. Is there any way we can add 1 more or 2 more? Also, can we do anything about resident parking when we go down there? I mean, I park in the landing and walk to Yarrow Beach. But is there any way we could have a resident sticker and to park along the ocean side and to have it enforced? Have signs and the police take notice?
There's a motion on to have a pilot program about just that later in the meeting. So we'll see.
Okay, thank you. And you're all doing a very good job up there.
Thank you, Rosemary. Thank you very much. Anyone else?
Hi, caller. Do you have any public comment? Hi, caller. Do you have any public comment?
Larissa, it's Nancy calling in.
Oh, okay. Do you have any public comment, Nancy?
Yes, I do. Hello, council members, Council President Boncory, Vice
How are you?
President.
Would you? This is Nancy Dalrymple, correct?
Yes. And Town Manager Faison, this is Nancy Dalrymple calling in regarding the motion that's due to come up in new business. And as you are aware, as a result of that motion, I'm seeking your approval to authorizing my continued employment as a Winthrop police officer past the mandatory retirement age. I've written the council in detail regarding this request, as well as having emailed all of you separately with even more details, so that if you needed some more information, I could address any concerns that any one of you might have had. This request to the council is not unprecedented, as you unanimously approved by at least 6 members that are currently sitting as council members as recently as September 2019, when the council unanimously approved the continued employment of Paul Flanagan, chief of the fire department, past the mandatory retirement age. This has already been done previously for a former police officer, Robert Crawford. It's not anything new. This extension of the mandatory retirement age has been done numerous times also across the Commonwealth. During these troubling times, of course, of unrest, continued pandemic, it's especially important to have trained and experienced supervisors. This request to continue to work after the mandatory retirement age has nothing to do with civil service and Chapter 31 of Mass General Laws, and nothing to do with unions. My request is governed solely under Mass General Laws, Chapter 32, which covers pensions and retirement. I'm considered Group 4 Public Safety, the same as what governs Chief Paul Flanagan. It doesn't matter whether you are a chief in the fire department, a lieutenant in the police department, or a firefighter or patrol officer. Under civil service rules or under a separate contract, you are ruled by Chapter 32, pensions and retirement. I am asking the town council on behalf of the town of Winthrop to treat me the same as you treated Paul Flanagan when he came before you, your body, less than a year ago, seeking the same consideration as I am now. I, too, consider this to be a moral, ethical, and legal issue. I wanted to be treated the same and afforded the same standards and benefits of employment that were allowed to Paul Flanagan. I should not be treated differently because of who I am or whether you like me or not, or because I am a woman. I should be allowed the same option of continued employment as was Paul Flanagan. My staying on would not prevent new hires, as we have at least 5 or 6 openings for new employees, and 4 or 5 reserve officers have left recently, as have 3 permanent officers. We have openings that can still be filled. And in terms of upward mobility and being aspirations for employment to be promoted, I too had all of those aspirations over my long career, and it didn't always come my way. Nobody would know better than I would about dying on a list of for promotions. There is no guarantee for promotion every time. I died on many a list, as I said. No one was concerned about upward mobility then. When the department fails to backfill positions for supervisors, or when supervisory positions are eliminated, no one was concerned about upward mobility then. It just seems to have come out now as I am seeking to stay on past the mandatory retirement age.
Yeah, Nancy, I don't want to cut you off. Can you finish up? Please,
Certainly.
it's been over 2 minutes.
Thank you. If I am allowed to continue my employment to reach my full benefit, as others have in the police department, is not going to explode, as people have stated previously during previous comment, just like the fire department did not explode. Ready, willing, and able to continue my employment for the benefit of the town and the department. And I thank you for your consideration regarding my request.
Thank you. Any other callers?
Yes, Jessica has her hand up.
Would you please identify yourself, Jessica?
Jessica Appel,
Hi, Jessica. Where are you from, Jessica?
down the point.
Precinct 3.
Just to continue on the point, Shirley, just a suggestion, or if it would be possible for the portion of Shirley Street by Holy Rosary Church to become a one-way. With all the parking and the buses going by, it's really, really tight. So if the town perhaps could consider that you would just go around and come back down on Taft's Ave in a circle, I think that would help on the safety side. And just another question, I heard that MWRA, there's a stop sign at the intersection of Shirley Street and Taft's that is very unsafe because you can't really see the people that are coming down Shirley Street out of the point. And I heard MWRA was going to extend and put this stop sign a little further down for safety. I was just wondering what the status of that was. Thank you.
Thank you. Does someone have an answer on that?
Yeah, briefly, they're still engineering that intersection. The last update that I received through Chief Flanagan on that. Thank you.
Are there any other calls?
No, sir.
If we're done with that, is there any correspondence? Denise, do you have any written correspondence? I know I received probably 30 or 40 correspondence from students and parents about graduation when there was a debate. I guess there was a survey going, and I received numerous, too many to mention. But we'll discuss that under my report from the school committee.
And did you also get the copy of the correspondence from Ed Cash?
I just saw an email from Ed Cash talking, asking us to vote no on the retirement issue.
Yes, yep, that's it.
All right, I see we had another correspondence from Mr. Booser and also on that same issue. He's asking us to vote no, and I see a letter from the person's name is Kristen Shalonik, also asking for no. One from Pauline Cornelius, asking us to vote no. One from Adam Buser, and one from Victoria Stone, and they were all on the same issue, asking us to vote no on the retirement question. All right, do you have any other ones, Denise, other than that I've mentioned?
Nope, that's it.
We also received correspondences about a handicap mailbox on the corner of Pleasant and Bartlett. I know that we've reached out to our state and federal delegations, and we're hoping to get that the handicap accessibility issue taken care of as well.
I think that came from Barbara Bishop, and I just got an email right now from Michael Demento asking for the same thing on the handicap mailbox. I believe we also got a letter from John O'Reilly that was talking about 2020, 2030, with the Win 2030, and you know, it was very informative. Any other correspondence that we know of? Okay, let's move on. Committee reports. First, the Finance Committee.
Thank you, Council President. The Finance Committee met last Thursday. We had two items on the agenda. One was that the council transfer $17,325 from free cash to a new special article to be named Fiscal 20 Risk Advisory Services in order to fund certain costs associated with seeking new coverage for the municipal insurance. As everyone know, we are not being re-upped by Maya, and it has put us in a situation where we have to go out to look for another vendor. And so the CFO brought all the information to us, which we requested, and we voted 2-1 with a positive recommendation. I did vote against, and my concern was that we have asked several times not to give us a motion that's already been signed. The contract's been signed, so we kind of don't have a choice whether to pay it or not. I know there are intricacies involved in finding a new insurer, but I thought this was something that through our liaisons with the state and within the town, we might have been able to do something on our own. But it is coming to the council tonight with a positive recommendation, 2-1. The second item on the Finance Commission was that the town council vote to transfer on Finance Committee, transfer $15,000 from free cash to replenish general fund article, pest control, or take any other action. Now that was passed with unanimous recommendation. However, it was amended up to $18,000. This we feel will get us through the end of the year, which is only another month. We have had And again, we feel pretty strongly within the town, I think, and inspectional services that this has a lot to do with COVID and the increased activity we're having with rodents throughout the town. You have many more people staying at home, many more trash barrels will be putting out, a lot more takeout. You have a rodent population that is probably used to getting food at certain places in regards to dumpsters and stuff where restaurants might be. And that food is not there anymore because a lot of these restaurants are closed, are not doing business they were doing, and they are out scrounging for other sources of food, which is, not a great subject to talk about, but something that needs to be addressed. And I think they're doing a fantastic job with addressing it. So we did put that forward with a positive recommendation unanimously and amended it to $18,000 instead of $15,000. And that was all that was discussed in finance.
Okay, thank you, Councilor Terry. Let us move on. I think the next two we are to report on as well. Miller Field Committee and the SBAC.
Okay, Miller Field is set to meet tomorrow at 5:30. There's been a lot of progress with Miller Field as far as what the normal resident would look at, the field itself and the field house and the fencing around it and the ticket booth. We are probably 98% ready to go. We hope to have a COA, a certificate of occupancy, in a short order. We do have some items to be addressed in terms of the field house, in terms of some FF&E, furniture, fixtures, and equipment for the field house and in the rooms within the field house. But we feel that will be complete in a short order of time. We do have two other items that we are in the process of looking into also. One is the parking around the tennis courts, which is going to coincide with an SBAC item, which would be to refurbishing the tennis courts. So we hope to be able to commingle with the SBAC and come up with a new, safer, cleaner, and more friendly area to play tennis and to park and walk. There is also discussion of, not discussion, but we feel we have an obligation to replace a maintenance shed for the golf course. Now that maintenance shed was taken down when we reconfigured the way the football field is set. We had to turn the football field a little bit. So in the process, the maintenance shed was taken down, and now we are in the process of replacing it. We also feel that we hope to be able to, in that same vicinity, which is on the Veterans Road side of Miller Field, hopefully to be able to do a dog park in conjunction with the maintenance shed project. And I think that's something that we've discussed for a long period of time. And I always think of Councilor McDuffie and want to get this done for him, if for no other reason, to be done in his memory. But we hope that is something that we're going to be able to do also. So all else is well, and I'm sure we'll be, the hope is to have that COA relatively soon. And I'm sure Council President Boncory will talk in his school address something about graduation that might have an impact there. We'll move on to the SBAC.
Just one thing on.
Sure, Council President.
That dog park has been in the running for a place to put it for many, many years. And there've been
many years.
So much debate over it. Finally, it's getting done. The plan is drawn for that and for the maintenance shed. And today they were doing borings today for the ground, to test the ground. I don't know if you knew that they were boring there today.
Yeah, we had a company similar to a company the same company that we had used, I believe, when we did test borings for potential new locker rooms at the rink. And they just testing the soil, and we hope that comes back relatively quickly, and we're able to start on that project relatively soon. Any other questions on Miller Field? Okay, moving on to the SBAC. The SBAC met a week ago Wednesday, and we made substantial headway on a lot of fronts. We had a lot of allotment of funds, including setting aside a reserve for the tennis court remodel plan. We also set aside a reserve to update, well, not really update, to look at the media center in the library at the high school. When we finished the middle school, high school project, we weren't sure funds were going to be available to really outfit that properly. Now that the funds are available, we wanted to make sure that we have an earmark set aside to do that. We were also able to make a substantial investment in technology for the schools, for both the middle school and high school. We feel that this is not only needed in general for the schools, but we hope that this is going to be something, well, we know that this is going to be something that will have an impact, a positive impact on their budget for fiscal 21. We were also very happily able to purchase, or in the process of purchasing, 2 athletic vans, which should also help with transportation costs for the schools. We're also in the process of purchasing a sped van, which is much needed, along with a few other items for the life skills room, which is much needed, and many other items. So we will be meeting again in the near future to start the design process for the tennis courts. We have also reached out to both the boys and girls tennis coaches to be a part of that redesign and to have their input, because we feel that's very important. And obviously working with the AD, Matt Serino, who's a member of our committee and has been very helpful in all facets of both Millerfield and the SBAC. And that is my reports, Council President.
Thank you, Councilor Lettieri. Moving on, let's have on the agenda, committee report from Councilor DeMarco on his virtual meeting.
Thanks, President Boncory. Yeah, we had a great meeting on the 21st. We did it in kind of a virtual town hall setting where people could call in and just literally fire away, ask anything they want, say anything that was on their mind. We covered everything from, the motion that's coming up later, as well as, the COVID-19 issues in the town, the water sewer bill, and it was a great community forum, and everybody, we had a good attendance at it. One of the recommendations that came out of it was that we have it more often, and that Tracy, you could also do one with me in lieu of the fact that town councils at large can't really have precinct meetings. They thought it might be beneficial in the future if me and you did one on a regular basis together. So overall, it was a very good meeting, and we're going to keep the dialogue going. And I know Dottie's going to hold me responsible, so that's what we're going to do.
Okay, thank you. That's it. Let's go on to the Joint Rules and Ordinance Committee. I think Councilor Christopher is going to report there was meetings between the Board of License, as I said, and the Rules and Ordinance Committee, because they were talking about the outdoor dining, and that those meetings have been going on. I think there's been 2 of them. So, Councilor Christopher.
So we held 2 meetings over the past 2 weeks. We held one, I think last Wednesday, and then we held another one last night with the Board of Licensure. And and we really wanted to focus on what this outdoor dining process would look like here in Winthrop. So we had gone over a bunch of other communities' outdoor dining ordinances and decided and crafted an ordinance that we felt like fit our community well. And all this was before the governor had come up with his executive order saying that an ordinance for this season really wasn't going to be necessary, invested the power in the chief executive officer of our town to move forward on this. So I think we had a lot of good discussions about what a process will look like. And I think that I've spoken with the town council president about it, and I'm sure that a lot of those thoughts are going to be taken into account in the process that he comes up with over the next week, hopefully. We also did work very closely with the chair of the Board of Health and the Chamber of Commerce to get input from the business community as well as the Board of Health, who also obviously they'll have some concerns about this with the whole COVID crisis that we're in. So I'm proud of the process, and I think that even though it didn't end up, we didn't end up coming up with an ordinance that's going to be used. We did in those meetings was very valuable, and I think it will be beneficial. And just the fact that we have our eye on the ball with this, I think means that we're going to be coming out with, we're going to be making this available to members of our business community faster than a lot of other communities are going to be able to, because of the legwork that we did prior to the executive order coming out. And I want to thank the licensing board for also meeting with us these times and helping us craft this as well. So thank you.
Okay. Yes, and I want to thank you, Council Christopher, and the licensing board as well. I think by you having had those meetings and know what we've been talking about, my order is pretty much similar on the lines of what you guys have been talking about. So hopefully, licensing board is prepared to immediately start looking at those plans people submit and allowing them. So thank you, and convey my thanks as well to the licensing board, and hopefully we'll be opening very, very soon. Okay, are there any other committee reports? Anybody, any other councilors? Hearing none, we'll move into the town manager's report.
Thank you very much, everyone, for the time. I'm going to say something, then Meredith is going to hop on, and the chief, and then I have some updates about the airport as well. So to begin, I feel like it is necessary that I broach the topic of what's happening in the country right now. So I'm going to say something quick. I'm tired, and I can't believe that I feel it's necessary to have to make a statement on this topic. If this situation does not resonate with you, just know that it does with me. And I hope that those who support me and my viewpoints would know that we need some real change in how we interact with one another. This includes a base level of respect between everyone, regardless of their background. I am not sure how to develop a better relationship between the police and the communities that they serve, but I am committed to working towards that as a goal. Unfortunately, people who look like me are disproportionately affected by a multitude of issues within our society. It isn't simply COVID-19, which is infecting us at a higher rate, nor police-related incidents where people are left dead after a misunderstanding or a minor offense, nor education, nor net worth, nor homelessness, nor history of being oppressed. It is all of those things bearing down on a community simultaneously. That is why people say Black Lives Matter. Not because they matter more, but simply because they want you to remember that they do in fact matter. I am personally appalled by what I have seen from those in leadership positions during the past 8 days. An entire country is protesting to ensure that one group of people is treated fairly, and that is unfortunately overshadowed by looting and police violence. I am embarrassed to work in government when I see the President of the United States order to use tear gas and flashbangs against the citizens that he is elected to serve. People are protesting because they are also tired, and they believe we are all better than this. I may be the only Black person that speaks to a lot of you directly about this topic. And honestly, I am sorry if that is the case. I have been the only Black person in the room for most of my life. I am one of 3 African-American town managers in the state of Massachusetts out of 351 communities. So this is nothing new to me, but just understand the type of toll that would take on any person to be the only person that looked like you in most of your conversations. I don't condone violence of any kind. Things need to change, and I need all of you to realize that things need to change. And with that, I'll pass it over to Meredith. Thank you.
Want to just provide some quick updates on where we stand with COVID-19 currently. As of this afternoon, we have 231 reported cases confirmed since early March. 24 have deceased, 186 recovered, and we have 21 in isolation at this point. So I have some catching up to do on some data, but we are definitely trending down along with the Massachusetts numbers. As Council President Boncory had mentioned at the beginning, we are tailoring down the response here at the EOC and hopefully going to be ramping up a bit of the public health initiatives here as we move into the mitigation and reopening phases. A good bit of my time in the last 10 days has been working with community members, Parks and Rec, for example, some businesses on the reopening policies to make sure that we're doing a good job educating and informing so that as soon as we can get them safely up and going, we're doing that. And also working with some of the other sectors within the community, and also looking forward to phase 2 officially starting and starting to prepare for phase 3. And that's where we're at.
Thank you, Meredith. Chief, did you have any updates for the community?
Just, we continue to work very hard, and I just wanted to follow up on what the town manager has already addressed. I think this is really the first time we've seen union officials, police top leadership of all backgrounds speak out about an incident that was so clearly unconstitutional. I just wanted to point out that immediately after that incident, Sergeant Krasafi sent out an email to everyone in the police department reminding them of our use of force policy and that we're obligated to obey the constitutions and our policy and procedures. We're constantly reviewing them and updating them. That's not to say we don't have work to do. We have a lot of work to do. We're fortunate here, we're a small community, and that we're participated in a lot of community events. And I think that is key in dealing with any community and building relationships. You can't do it from the office. You can't do it from your cruises. So I'm fortunate enough to have a force that understands that. Again, I think we have to stress how do we move forward in this environment and what is the best practices moving forward and how do we build these relationships with a lot of our community, which is changing. We have certainly different backgrounds and we have to be more sensitive and caring of how we include them in our decision-making processes. And we're committed to that. So I want to thank my police officers for the work they have done. I want them to understand that we support them, but we also support and understand the protests that are going on currently throughout the United States. It's concerning when I have to deploy people to a city, a neighboring city, that looks more like a war zone than in a city of great reputation and tourist location, that it gets torn apart. I think the message gets lost when that happens. I think all sides have to understand that, and that we have to also realize that certain people are only there for a certain purpose and it has nothing to do with the message. And those people need to be removed and handled in a different fashion than those who want to protest peacefully and lawfully. So that's what's going on. We are constantly reviewing and assisting Meredith as well, health department, and how we move forward in stage 2. And we'll also, at the same time, worrying about equipment needs for deployment of police officers to some of these protests going on in the entire Commonwealth at this time. So I'll be happy to answer any questions to any of those points I spoke to, or any other questions from the police perspective.
I want to thank the people of Winthrop. We had a very small but very peaceful demonstration on the bridge the other night. Many of my family members were involved in, and I want to thank the chief and police department for rising to the call for Boston and going in to help with some mutual assistance. I am proud, Terry, that you were able to help quell a situation.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Austin, are you finished or you have more?
No, I have one more item. Thank you, Council President. Concerning runway 27 at Logan Airport, there's going to be a barge there starting very soon, and the boarding will be occurring between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m., and it will last for 3 to 4 weeks. The first stage is preliminary design for environmental permitting, and those borings need to be made to support that design and the permitting. They will happen simultaneously with the runway 27 safety rehab. So 9 borings are going to be taken. They're self-contained and the noise is minimal, and they're covered under the Boston Conservation Commission concerning the work that's being done, and there will be community meetings for the environmental review process. It was a pretty short notice, so Airport Hazards and Gina Cassetta, wanted to get this information out. Just wanted to note that in this meeting, and then it will be available on our website as well. And that's all I have with my time. Thank you.
I just want to point out that barge is there. I was sent a picture of it by Covadalaro today. The barge is there, and once they start doing the actual pier, we're going to have a talk with them about some mitigation and hopefully some soundproofing for some of the houses down the point when the pier is being built. So thank you, Austin, for your report. And we'll move on to the school department update. School department met last night, and it was a very interesting meeting. We learned that at the Cummings Middle School, Fort Bank School, and students have been able to get in and get their items. Teachers have been bagging up their personal items, and they've been able to get them out. So we have 1,986 students in the Winthrop School Department, and beside them we have 4 students that are virtual students that do not attend school, but yet they're learning virtually, and they're in virtual schools. And then we have 12 homeschooled students, so we're right up there. The school committee last night signed the contracts and finalized them for the secretaries and the ESPs. We were given a report that the Arthur T. Cummings School playground, which has been closed for so long, is going to break ground on June 3rd. And the people that are putting the playground together are the same people that built other playgrounds for us. They will have it done quickly, but it may not be able to be used until phase 3 or 4. Thirdly, when schools do reopen in September, the school department has purchased a temperature camera, which will be able to take a picture of a large group of people coming into the school at the same time and pick out the temperatures of anybody that has a higher temperature, which then the nurse can, check the temperature of that person. As I said before, this COVID thing is not over, and it's going to continue, and we're going to take every safety precaution we can to protect the people in the town of Winthrop. That being said, the governor also opened up for graduations after July 19th. There would be some kind of a traditional graduation. So the Winthrop High School seniors finally know that graduation, the Winthrop High School seniors, will take place on July 23rd at Miller Field. And it will be done with social distancing, but it will be a graduation that is much more traditional than having a drive up, hand someone a diploma and walk away. There will be a semi-traditional graduation on Miller Field on July 23rd. Okay, so I know the people are very happy to hear that. The school department had done a survey and a poll, and I think it was overwhelming that the students and the parents wanted to have this actual graduation rather than doing it virtual. So that is the school department update and report. We will move on to old business. And unless anybody has questions, anybody has questions on the school department? All right, hearing none. First thing on the old business is fiscal year 21 budget. Any discussion on that? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to continue it on old business for our next meeting.
Motion to continue.
Motion's been made by Councilor Terry, seconded by
Second.
Councilor Farino. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none. All those in favor of continuing the budget onto old business for our next meeting signify by saying aye.
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 I'm sorry, we need to take a roll call.
Need a roll call.
Did every vote? Yes.
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Reno,
Yes.
Councilor Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you. Continued.
The next item that is on old business, which I'm not sure it should be on old business because I guess was erroneously put in the transcript last week that the motion wasn't heard because of a clerical error. There was no clerical error. The motion was put over because there was no motion. The motion had not been filed as of the last meeting on the 19th. So there was not a motion in front of the council at that time. A motion now has been submitted by our town manager, Austin Faison, and it is dated 5/26/20, which is May 26th, a week after our last meeting. The text of that motion is that the town council of the town of Winthrop hereby authorize the filing of a petition with the general court for special legislation authorizing the town to continue the employment of Winthrop Police Officer Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple past the mandatory retirement age of 65, as set forth below. Provided, however, that the general court may make clerical or editorial changes of form only to the proposed special act, unless the town council approves amendments prior to enactment by the general court, and to authorize the town council to approve amendments which shall be within the scope of the general public objectives of this petition. And then this is an act authorizing the town of Winthrop to continue the employment of Winthrop Police Officer Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple. Section 1, notwithstanding any general or special law to the contrary, Winthrop Police Officer Nancy Dalrymple of the town of Winthrop may continue to serve in that position until June 30th, 2023, the date of her retirement or the date she is relieved of her duties by the town manager of the town of Winthrop, whichever occurs first. Provided, however, that she is mentally and physically capable of performing the duties of this office. The town manager may, at the expense of the town, require that Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple may be examined by an impartial physician on or about her 65th birthday and each year hereafter on or about her birthday to determine such capability. No further deductions shall be made from regular compensation of Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple pursuant to Chapter 32 of the Mass General Laws for service subsequent retirement allowance equal to the allowance that she would have been entitled had she retired on that date. Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple will continue to be a member in service under Chapter 32, Section 1, for purposes of eligibility for benefits under Chapter 32, Section 7, 9, or 100 during any period after her 65th birthday, while servicing as a lieutenant in the Winthrop Police Department. Section 2 is that this act shall take effect upon its passage. All right, that is the motion. Now, the motion came to us by Town Manager Austin Faison on May 26th of 2020. To me, I consider that to be new business. However, it is on the agenda as old business. So, if it was on this new business, I would put it over and send it to a committee. It was my understanding that council wanted to address this issue tonight. And to do that, I would think the council would have to make a motion that we address this, even though it's the first instance. And it's really not the first instance because we had Lieutenant Dalrymple before us to give us her side of her plea, and we had her on the agenda, but we had her on the agenda speaking under comments. not with a motion in front of us. So it's whatever the council wishes. I'm waiting to hear.
So President Boncory, we would have to vote to take up we would have to vote to take this up under old business, then discuss it, and then vote on the actual thing. Correct? Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
So I would move that we do that.
Yeah, we take it up and vote it tonight.
Correct.
I would second.
Okay, motion by Councilor Terry, seconded by Councilor DeMarco, that this issue not be further put over as a first motion, but be voted tonight. We'll do a roll call on that.
Councilor Ruggiero?
Yes.
Councilor Flockhart?
Yes.
Councilor DeMarco?
Yes.
Councilor Christopher?
Yes.
Councilor Honan?
Yes.
Councilor Farino?
I'm recusing myself from the vote.
Councilor Conti?
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri?
Yes.
President Boncory?
Yes.
Passes, thank you.
Okay, the motion is before you. It's been read. It was proposed by Town Manager Austin Faison. I would assume that there is a second, Barbara?
Yes.
And it's been seconded by Councilor Flockhart. Discussion.
President.
How is this going to be handled if the legislature is not in session by the time her retirement age is reached?
I don't have that answer. Do you, Austin?
We would send it out to them accordingly. I know that the Speaker's office has been contacted by the lieutenant and is aware. If you all vote now, it goes up to that next level and it leaves it in their hands to make a decision. Your part of the process as the town council will be over once you vote on this item.
I know both the Speaker and the Senator have been made aware of this situation. I think Lieutenant Dalrymple spoke to both of them. I emailed both of them today, as a matter of fact, as well as having emailed the Speaker earlier.
So the assumption is that it will be brought up in time.
There is no assumption that it will be brought up in time.
Yeah, there is no assumptions.
So we're going to pass this up as quickly as you all vote on it. And as I said in the last meeting, and was brought up in the last meeting as well, the proximity to the end of the fiscal year and the age, it's a pretty tight window. So on our end, you all are doing time-wise exactly what you're supposed to be doing. There's no necessarily forcing the hand of the state government on this, though, unfortunately.
We can't make them do anything.
Presuming that they won't get it done, what happens to her then?
She would be separated as an employee at the end of the fiscal year.
Would she have the opportunity to, once they pass it, to come back in some way? We would explore whatever would happen if that was the decision. And we would, if the state grants it and they vote on it and you all approve it for them to get sent up to them, we will enact it accordingly. It's a home rule petition. Okay. All righty.
Or a special act, excuse me. But you all have done this before. Excuse me.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on this motion? Is everybody, go ahead. Who
Council
spoke?
President?
Yes.
I would just like to speak and out of respect for Lieutenant Dalrymple, and I have a tremendous amount of respect for the lieutenant, as I do for all employees of the town of Winthrop. And I take this request extremely seriously. And what I look at is the potential of a severe negative impact to the department, in this case, the police department. I think every officer, every every public employee has a special purpose and has special attributes to help them do that job as best they can. But in a situation like this, I'm looking at if this employee was to retire, would there be a significant negative impact to that department? And I am not convinced that there is. I think we have, and, you know, all our offices, I think, are incredibly capable, and I'm sure they're, like I've always told employees, and I've been told as an employee, you know, everybody is replaceable at some point in time. But I look at, is there going to be a significant negative impact? And I have looked up and down, and I just don't see that there would be that negative impact if the lieutenant is not granted this request, and I will be voting no on this request.
Any other discussion?
Yes, President Boncory. I share Vice President Lettieri's sentiments. This is not an easy vote. I don't think it's a comfortable vote for any of us. You know, Lieutenant Dalrymple has served this community for a very long time. But I do think when I looked at this, I'm saying to myself that, you know, I've been involved with one vote like this before for the chief of the fire department. And there is a difference between a vote for the chief of the fire department who is in a contract with the town versus a lieutenant on the police force. And I think the situations are completely different, and we have to look at these on a case-by-case basis. You can't say, all right, anybody who reaches retirement age, we're just gonna, you know, put them through. There has to be a significant impact to the department at the time. And I'm glad that there's a program like the Special Officer Program to allow her to still be involved. There was no special chief program for the fire department or anything like that. So I hope she continues to serve this community in a special officer scenario, but I also will be voting no on this.
Any other discussion? Any other discussion? Hearing none, motion is to send this as a home rule petition to the state to enact an authorization to allow the town of Winthrop to continue employment of police officer Lieutenant Nancy Dalrymple. A yes vote, and she will need 5 yes votes for this to go forward into the State House. A no vote would end the situation here, and it would not be going to the State House for a vote, okay? So you vote yes, we're sending it to the State House. If you vote no, it dies here at the council, and she needs 5 yeses to pass, okay? Would you please take a roll call if there's no further discussion? Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, please take a roll call.
Councilor Ruggiero,
No.
Councilor Flockhart,
Yes.
Councilor DeMarco,
No.
Councilor Christopher,
Yes.
Councilor Honan,
No.
Councilor Farino abstain,
Accuse.
accused. Councilor LeConte,
No.
Vice President Lettieri,
No.
President Boncory.
It's already a done deal that it's not going forward. It's not 5 votes, it's only 2 in the affirmative. The motion is defeated.
Okay.
I will vote no. Motion is defeated. Next thing on the agenda is a motion to transfer $17,325 from free cash to fiscal year 20 risk advisor services.
Council President?
Yes, Councilor Terry.
That motion is coming out of committee with positive recommendation. Funds will be used, if passed, from the free cash, which currently has a balance of $349,000 and change. which would leave a remaining balance of roughly $332,000.
Is there any discussion on this motion? Any questions? The motion is to move the town council to transfer $17,325 from free cash to a risk advisor fund. Is all those in favor, would please take a roll call?
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
No.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Council President, I have one more motion that the town council vote to transfer $18,000 from free cash to replenish the general fund article pest control as estimated for the remainder of fiscal year 20, or take any other action relative thereto. This did come out of committee with positive recommendation.
Okay, since it came out of committee, it doesn't need a second. The motion is to move and transfer $18,000 from free cash to the general fund special article pest control. Is there any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, please take a roll call vote.
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Also under old business, we have polling locations. And I see that there was a letter that came in, there is an inter-office memorandum from Carla Vitale, our town clerk, with a recommendation. I don't know, there is no motion why this is, I believe that Councilor Terry put this on to talk about it, but I don't think any motion has come forward.
No,
Is that
there hasn't
correct?
been. That is correct. I just wanted to get some information, but I just wanted to be proactive about it.
Okay,
We can continue that if you'd like.
you want to continue that on?
I'd like to keep it on the agenda for old business.
All right, why don't you make that a motion then,
I
because,
would like to make a motion to maintain the polling locations as an agenda item under old business.
Second.
okay, any discussion on it? Hearing none, please take a roll call.
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council Conti,
No.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes,
Passes.
so that will stay on old business. Also on old business, we have the town employee evaluations. I thought we had passed those, but why are we still on them?
Jim,
Councilor
actually,
DeMarco.
yeah, Vice President Lettieri actually used his privilege to put it off 2 weeks so people would have more time to review the handbooks. Obviously, it was a team effort between myself, Councilor Flockhart, and Councilor Ruggiero. We were pretty thorough, I think. I think everybody did a good job. And now that everybody's had a chance to see them over the last 2 weeks, I think we would like to put this forward to have a discussion in town council vote on it.
Okay, would you like to tell us again what your evaluations are?
Yes, the evaluations were for the town council employees. We based our evaluations on the goals that they had been set, whether they met them, and I thought they did a great job in all going through them and discussing their goals from last year and getting them back to us in a timely fashion. We then suggested some new goals for them, followed up with a phone call, had a discussion with them, and especially during the crazy last couple of months, we were very happy with their performance. We gave the town council, the town manager, we gave him a score of 4 out of 5, 5 being the best. We gave Carla LaConte, the town clerk, a score out of 4 as well, 5 being the best. And Denise, we gave a 4.5 out of 5 for her exceptional work.
Okay, and since the last meeting, has anyone submitted a separate evaluation? Has anyone called you to request you change it or to add anything?
No, I have not gotten any requests to change scores. I've gotten phone calls about the process, but not requests to change scores. A couple counselors were vocal that they thought it should have been the whole town council involved in the process.
Okay. Do any councilors want to talk on this issue? Councilor Honan.
I just want to sincerely thank the town manager, the town clerk, and the town council clerk for doing an amazing job. I've been on this council for a very short time, but I'm grateful for all your support and for the amazing job that I think you all do. Thank you.
Okay. Does anyone else have any comments?
Council President, I just would like to thank the committee for rewriting the way we've been doing things and taking a different approach. It sounds like some others would have hoped that it would have involved all the councilors, since these are our only 3 employees, and I think we should all have input in it. But I thank the councilors for taking the time, and I know it's a lot of time to do this and to start a new process. So I respect the time they took. I just wish it had thoughts from each councilor.
Okay, situation is I thought it would be after the fiasco that last time we did this, and the situation where it did not go very well at all. I thought the evaluation by a committee would be a much better idea. I think every single counselor could have attended every one of the committee meetings and voiced their opinions and added in. That committee had at least 3 meetings, maybe 4, before they came up with their evaluations. And every counselor was welcome to go to those meetings and express their opinion. But I think it's better to have a group opinion from the 3 people after they've debated the issue in a subcommittee. And as I said, every single council had a right to go to those subcommittees and voice their opinion. Is there any other comment? I will entertain a motion to adopt the evaluations of the subcommittee. Does not need a second.
Moved.
Okay. It does
Council
not need a
President,
second because it's coming from committee.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Council President. I request we approach these one at a time.
Okay. All right, let's do it one at a time. Okay, and Councilor DeMarco, what would you like to do first?
Let's start with Town Council Clerk Denise Quist.
Okay, the committee recommended giving Council Clerk Denise Quist an evaluation of 4.5. Any discussion on that issue? Hearing none, all those in favor? Was there someone?
That was me, Council. I'm sorry again, but I just wanted to say that, I think we're each of our 3 employees have very good qualities and traits. I'm going to have to vote no on all of them because of the process. I could have very well given Denise a 5, but so I'm just saying ahead of time that I'll be voting no on all 3.
Okay. Motion is to adopt the recommendation and Denise Quist get a 4.5 evaluation. Take a roll call, please.
Counselor Ruggiero?
Yes.
Counselor Flockhart?
Yes.
Counselor DeMarco?
Yes.
Counselor Christopher?
Yes.
Counselor Honan?
Yes.
Counselor Farino?
Yes.
Counselor Conti?
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri?
No.
President Boncory?
Yes.
Adoption passes.
Next, Councilor DeMarco.
Town Clerk Carlo LaConte, who got a 4.0 out of 5.
Okay, there's a motion to
Carla Vitale.
approve the recommendation.
Oh, sorry, Carla Vitale.
Oh, what? I'm sorry.
I've only known her 40 years, so.
All right. The motion is to approve the evaluation of the committee for Carla Vitale, which they gave a 4-2. Is there any discussion? Is there any questions? Hearing none, please take.
I just wanted to, if I could give her a 5, I'd give her a 5.
Yeah. Okay. All those in favor of the recommendation of 4.0 for Carla Vitale, Town Clerk, please vote on a roll call.
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council LeConte.
I recuse myself.
Recuse, yep. Vice President Lettieri,
No.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Adoption passes.
Next issue.
We got one
Council-
more.
Yes.
We got one more. Town Manager Austin Faison.
Okay.
We gave
It was-
him a 4. We gave him a 4 out of 5 as well.
Thank you. The recommendation of the subcommittee is to give our town manager, Austin Faison, a score of 4. Is there any discussion on that? Anyone have any discussion on that? No discussion? Let's take a vote to
Council
approve
Ruggiero, Council
recommendation.
Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council LeConte,
No.
Vice President Lettieri,
No.
President Boncory.
Absolutely, yes.
Adoption passes.
Thank you. The recommendations have all passed, and we will move on to new business. First item on new business is a new motion that was filed by Councilor DeMarco dated May 26, 2020. The motion is that the town council vote for a pilot program to require residential parking stickers down the point, and I assume he means down Point Shirley, from the opening of the town landing from June 19, 2020 through September 7, 2020. This motion will require anyone parking a vehicle down the point to either display a Winthrop residential parking pass or a visitor's pass regardless of the time of day. Okay. And then he addresses some issues that go along with his thing, but I think you want to argue those issues since that's discussion.
Yeah, I mean, well, we've heard.
Wait a minute. Time out. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Councilor DeMarco, you have the floor. You can explain what your issues are you're addressing.
Thank you, President Boncory. This was something that I've been, hearing about from the Point residents over the past few months. And it's also something that came up at my town hall as well. Obviously, you heard from the callers calling during public comment that there are concerns about the parking. But I think the biggest issue right now facing our community is obviously the coronavirus, COVID-19, which isn't going away. In the spirit of the town curfew and the fact that our cases are declining, which is a good thing, some of the other communities are not doing as good as us. And right now with wanting to keep no more than groups of 10 in an area separated and practicing social distancing, I just think it makes complete sense to do a short pilot program where we require people to have residential parking stickers or a visitor's pass shown. So that way we keep the community, we want to keep it, you can't keep everybody out, obviously, and we don't want to keep everybody out, but we do want to protect our bubble a little bit. And I think it's so important to put this program into play through September 7th.
Okay.
So you want this to take place from June 19th through September 7th, 2020?
Correct.
Is there any other discussion on this?
Yes,
Council
does
President?
this include the town
Sorry.
landing?
He said from the
Barbara, it
opening
does not
of the
include the
town
landing.
landing.
Does not include the landing.
All
Okay,
right,
it goes
how
from
about
the other side of the
MWRA
opening.
parking lot.
A lot of people consider the Water Tower Hill part of the point, and they have for years. I think there's going to be an issue with the landing, and with a lot of people from the yacht club and, you know, the overflow coming from the point if there's a parking restriction at the landing. So I know it's a state property, so would that eliminate a chance to maybe include that into that?
I think the public landing is the public landing for a reason. I was not including the public landing itself in this proposal.
I think he says from the opening.
Yeah.
From the public landing.
Correct.
And he doesn't say forward. Except
with the same intent of the landing being public, so are the streets. So what I'm trying to get at is that the overflow of the parking from the point, if it's eliminated, is going to come into the landing more so than normal. And that's going to cause an issue for a lot of people down at the landing, first of all, and also at the yacht club. So could we include up to and including the landing in your sticker restriction?
I wouldn't recommend it. And just because I think there's also the case that private clubs aren't going to be opening at their current levels for a while. I think that's either phase 3 or phase 4. So I don't even know if we're
not the marina. Not the marina,
not the marina, but I'm saying at current levels. It's not going to be, it shouldn't be as busy for yacht club traffic as it has been in recent years.
I would tend to disagree, but I get it.
And Rich, also, everybody in town does not get those stickers.
Well, they can go to town hall and get one, or they can go online and get one.
Just to park at the landing?
No, it's to park from past the landing to Deer Island.
But if the landing is included,
landing is not included.
To get a sticker.
The landing is not included, and please raise your hand to be heard. Councilor Honan has been ready to speak and has a prepared speech, and I'd like to call on Councilor Honan.
Thank you, President Boncory. I've prepared a statement regarding the point parking motion. I'd like to read it. While I sympathize with the residents of Point Shirley, I believe that this pilot policy, if enacted, would be a move towards becoming a more insular community with an unwelcoming and provincial reputation. That type of reputation would not be a good thing for Winthrop. I'm not sure how it was determined or who determined that the excess cars are actually from outside of Winthrop. There are more than 18,000 people in the town of Winthrop. So who's to say the excess is not from Winthrop citizens? This could set a precedent to restrict other parts of town. And what would be the exceptions or limitations to this policy? Would Point residents be able to have contractors or landscapers or realtors or even visiting nurses able to access their homes if they do not have ample driveway space? Would a hospice nurse caring for somebody in end of life be fined if their car was parked on the street? I don't believe that this sort of restrictive policy should be implemented in Winthrop. I believe it would set an undesirable and regrettable precedent for this town. I do support greater enforcement, however, of existing parking rules, as well as the enforcement of social distancing and the issuance of fines for littering. Thank you.
Anyone else?
I would like to say that a counselor had recommended to me a second visitor's pass as a potential possibility to stop any concerns about visitors being able to park or visiting nurses in this case, Tracy.
But again, they'd have to somehow access a visitor permit, know that they'd have to get a visitor permit beforehand. And what would happen if they didn't have a visitor permit and some poor old gentleman is waiting for morphine,
I think it would be on the resident and the
Okay.
resident's family. Yeah.
Let's not have a debate back and forth, but go through the chair. And I just want to say that we have done it before. I've got numerous calls on this issue as well. Beside the people that came on public comment, I got emails from Amy Fothergill, from Tracy Talent, who both live up Euro Beach, asking for the same type of thing, that we put some kind of pilot program on, or some kind of actual program that's going to last forever, not just be a pilot program, to just make it parking for Winthrop residents only. Just to answer, we have done that in the past. When we had the tall ships come in back many years ago, the people at Point Shirley were given a special pass to put on their windshield so they could get into the point, because they had closed the point down completely when the tall ships came in, because they anticipated a massive crowds. So people were stopped at Delby's Corner, and you only could go up there if you had a sticker on your window that was for Point Shirley only. So it had been done in the past. I agree, it may not be a great idea. Personal sentiment, parking lots get full, but I also have people that are going to treat my mother up at Euro Beach, and they come from out of town. I notice an awful lot of cars up in that area that don't have, Massachusetts license plates. I'm seeing New York license plates. I'm seeing Florida license plates, a lot of Florida license plates, and so on. But does anybody else have any comment? Now that I made a comment, Jim, you're going to have to take the vote.
All right, now that eliminates me from.
I'm giving you the gavel.
That eliminates me from making a comment, so I guess that saves us 10 minutes in time in the meeting. So, Councilor Ruggiero, did you have a comment?
Yes, just a question for Council DeMarco, the sponsor of the motion. Had you reached out to any member of TSAC, whether that be the chief or anyone else on that committee, when writing this motion?
I spoke with
TAC, for that matter, the Transportation Advisory Citizens Committee.
I did not speak to transportation. I spoke with Chief Delahanty.
Okay. And I'm just curious about the enforceability of this, and I don't know if there's any more information regarding that. So maybe a question for the chief if he's on the call.
Chief,
we do have the chief on the call, so I will ask the chief to weigh in on this, please.
Chairman, thank you. Councilor Ruggiero, thank you for the question. Enforceability is always an issue. We have the night resident sticker program between 1 and 5 in the morning that are dedicated just to the resident sticker program. We usually carry 2 to 3 officers on the day shift. As we get busy, parking complaints, as I told Councilor DeMarco, will fall to the bottom of our list. Priority calls are obviously domestics and loud parties and that type of stuff. But we're always willing to try a pilot program. I would, it's labor intensive to come up with a new sticker. The current resident sticker we thought would be more accurate to use. I apologize for that. As a pilot program, and then expand it out if we need to. Again, the landing, I just want to be careful. I know that it's not including the landing, but the landing is also, we are under a management agreement. We do have obligations to allow boaters to launch from there and park there, and canoers and all of that. So I know that has not been included in the motion, but just wanted to get my comments in on that as well. So hopefully, we could try this pilot program. We can put some enforcement down there. We're collecting data right now on the number of cars going into the point, coming out of the point, the speed of those cars, the time of day. I'm hoping to have the report to Councilor Conti, who requested that information as well.
And if you could actually forward that to me and I guess the rest of the council as well, I think that'd be useful information. So thank you.
Yep, no problem.
Any other questions on the motion? Seeing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
I'm sorry. It's my understanding that this requires a public hearing and we can't vote on
Okay,
it.
so you're just,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so,
Well, yeah, this is on for the first time. It could be sent to a committee. It could be
yes.
sent to TSAC. It could be sent to Rules and Ordinance or anywhere else.
Correct. Is there a recommendation? Would you rather have it go to Rules and Ordinance or TSAC? I know now with TSAC or with Rules and Ordinance, either one, there could be an issue of timing with this, especially with TSAC, because they meet a little less frequently, I think, than you have the ability to meet. Is there a desire to send it to Rules and Ordinance?
I make a recommendation, you send it to the Public Safety Committee.
Okay.
That's
So
public
there's
safety.
a recommendation to send it to Public Safety. Is there a second for that?
Second.
Okay, there's a motion to send this to Public Safety to report back at our next meeting. Roll call vote, please. Denise, unmute, please.
My goodness. Counselor Ruggiero,
Yes.
Counselor Flockhart,
Yes.
Counselor DeMarco,
Yes.
Counselor Christopher,
Yes.
Counselor Honan,
Sorry, yes.
Counselor Farino,
Yes.
Counselor Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Motion passes. I hand it back to President Boncory.
Thank you. I got it. Next item on the agenda of the new business was Town Council vote to authorize amendments for outside seating ordinance. And that ordinance has been put aside right now by executive order. But I think we should probably keep this on the agenda because when this ends, I think we may want to make this a permanent thing, not just a temporary pilot thing for COVID. So I'm going to ask that this stay on the agenda and old business from now on. Or would someone
Make a motion to keep this on old business?
I'll second it. Third it.
Motion's been made and seconded to keep the ordinance on outside seating on old business. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please take a roll call.
Counselor Ruggiero,
Yes.
Counselor Flockhart, Counselor DeMarco,
Yes.
Counselor Christopher,
Yes.
Counselor Honan,
Yep.
Counselor Farino,
Yes.
Counselor Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, the next thing on the agenda is the Charter Review Committee. And under section 9.6 of our charter, calls for a periodic review of our charter and ordinances, and states no later than the first day of July in 5-year intervals in each year ending with a 5 or a 0, the town council shall provide for a review to be made of the ordinances of the town for the purpose of preparing a proposed revision or recodification of the same. Such review should be made by a special committee to consist of 9 members who shall be chosen as provided in section 2.10, which means they are appointed by the president as a policy-making committee with the approval of the council. The special committee shall be referred to as the Ordinance Review Committee, and it shall file a report with the clerk of the council no later than the first day of May in the year following when they're appointed. And as we know, that ordinances will come before the council to be addressed and voted on, and any charter changes or any charter fixes will be put on the ballot a year from November for a vote. Now, I am appointing the following people. And it's been in tradition to have this type of setup on the group, meaning the town clerk. So I am appointing Carla Vitale, town clerk, as one of the members of this committee. In the past, there has always been 2 counselors on the committee. I am appointing Tracy Honan and Stephen Ruggiero on the committee. there has always been at least one other person beside the town council that had served on the committee in the past. And I am appointing Attorney James Cipolletta to be that person and serve on this committee. I am appointing Alicia Del Vento, who is a legislative aide, to be on this committee. I think everybody knows the other people that I've already mentioned. Mr. Cipolletta served on the committee before. He was also on the planning board and served in other capacities in the town. I am appointing Kurt Millar, who ran for councilor at large in the last election and was defeated, but wants to get involved in the town. And this is his opportunity. He is being appointed. I am appointing Ricky Baez. Ricky Baez is the regional manager for kids only. And he is in charge of like 7 or 8 schools. He's an intelligent young man I'd like to see get involved. He's a young person. Asked Bob Carroll to serve on the committee. Bob is a former member of the planning board, and he's an activist, and I believe he can help with the zoning bylaws that we have now, along with Mr. Cipolletta. And I am appointing Attorney Jeff Turco as the chairman of this committee, former town council president. So I ask for your votes to accept my appointments to this committee.
Councilor Ruggiero.
Seeing as I'm on the docket, I will recuse myself.
Councilor Flockhart.
You're not getting paid for this, Stephen. You can vote for it. There's no money involved.
Councilor Christopher.
That was yes, by the way, from me.
Councilor Honan.
Yes.
Councilor Farino.
Yes.
Councilor Conti.
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri.
Yes.
President Boncory.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, the Ordinance Review Committee is set. Carla Vitale, Tracy Honan, Stephen Ruggiero, Alicia Del Vento, James Cipolletta, Kurt Millar, Ricky Baez, Bob Carroll, and Jeff Turco. Please go to the town clerk's office and get sworn in for this job in the next few weeks, or next week. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is to schedule a public hearing for mooring permit revocation. You want to tell us a bit about that, Austin?
Yes, there was a mooring permit that the harbor master decided to revoke due to decisions that are under his authority. And the individual who owns that mooring permit would like to appeal to the town council for a hearing to see if he would overturn the harbor master's decision. So you need to schedule that public hearing for the next meeting.
Okay, we have to have a 14-day notice for that, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Denise, would you please put that on for a public hearing?
Yes.
Rather than new business, okay. All right, we have
Council President?
Yes.
Under new business, I would like to make a motion that we suspend council rules for the second meeting in June and move it from Tuesday, June 16th to Monday, June 15th. Reading the charter, the town manager had to submit a budget not less than 60 days before the start of the town's fiscal year, which we have always used as May 1st. The town must adopt the budget with or without amendments within 45 days of that, which we have always used as June 15th. So to be in accordance with the charter, I think it would be prudent to have our meeting scheduled for Monday, June 15th instead of Tuesday, June 16th, and ask for the council's acceptance.
Okay, I hear your motion, but I also understand the charter says we have to adopt it within 45 days of him presenting it. I don't believe because of the COVID that it was presented on the 1st. I don't believe it was presented till the 4th of May. So I think we have until the 19th. And I'd like to hear the town manager's take on that and anybody else's take on that, because I'm not sure, but I think the school committee also is scheduled to meet on the 15th. So
I am not right now scheduled to meet on the 15th.
At all. Okay.
Concerning the timing, the budget was presented in the second meeting in April, and then the first meeting in May was when you all were had the opportunity to digest it and could have accepted it. In quotation marks. You know, it's one of those things that's up to interpretation. So depending on the date that the group would like to meet on, a case could be made in either direction to have it on the 15th or the 16th. So I would say I am available both nights. Hopefully all of you are available both nights, but cases can be made in either direction, and there isn't necessarily a correct option due to some of the gray area in the charter, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Council President.
Yes.
I am Lettieri. I feel it is pretty clear in the charter, and we have used this for the last 15 years for these dates, and it's very specific in section 7.5, submission of the budget and budget message not less than 60 days before the start of the town's fiscal year, which would be May 1st. Now, we could use COVID as an excuse. I don't think we need to, and I don't think we should. Where we have the ability to stick to the charter, I think we should do so. And in section C of section 7, chapter 5, and section C, it specifically says the town council shall adopt the budget with or without amendment within 45 days following the date proposed, which we have always used for the past 15 years as June 15th. So there might be gray area with COVID. I would just assume that we don't need to go into gray area. If everyone can meet it on the 15th, I should be able to. I think.
So, Councilor Lettieri, can I ask a question? Why is it so honed in on the May 1st date? Just asking about that. The budget was presented on the 21st, so it was prior to that. Just for clarity of the group, you're honing in on a date that doesn't actually impact it. Nothing happened on that date, so I just want to make sure. That's why I was saying it was gray area, because the presentation actually happened in April, and since you all didn't vote to accept the budget one way or the other, honing in on the May 1st date again is just as much of a gray area as anything. So that's why.
Well, I think if you look back as to when you presented the budget.
Jim, wait to be recognized. I know we formally accepted the budget on May 4th at our meeting. I know the budget had been out and was roaming around. It was formally presented at our main meeting in the form that was accepted. Okay. Anyone else want to weigh in on this? Either way, it really doesn't matter what day we have it as far as I'm concerned. Anyone else?
So just to clarify, the motion on the, excuse me, Council President.
Motion on the floor is to waive the rules, and instead of having it on the 16th, which is the third Tuesday of the month, he wants to have it on the Monday of the month.
A Monday, okay.
I think that if it could go
Barbara.
away, that it would be less confusing to the population if we stuck to our regular meeting dates. And since doing this whole virtual thing is confusing enough for our constituents.
Okay, anyone else? Barbara, you done, right?
I'll just say, without having really gone deeply into the interpretations of the charter that seemingly could kind of go either way, I think whenever you can stick with regular order, it's preferable as opposed to suspending the rules. And I think in this case, I'd rather stick with the regular order. And I think Councilor Flockhart made a very good point that this is probably the biggest decision. The budget is probably one of the biggest decisions that the council makes on any given year. So I think that it'd be good to have the public know that the meeting is going to be on the same Tuesday that we've always done it on.
Anyone else? Councilor Farina.
Council President. Yeah, just one remark, and I like to stick with tradition, and I kind of understand a bit what Councilor Terry's saying, that we've done it one way for 15 years. I've noticed a lot of tradition lately has been kind of circumvented. This is one that we can do easily. It's one night. We're all home. We're all COVID bound here in our homes. So I don't think it'd be much of an inconvenience to keep a little tradition in the council and make an accommodation for Councilor Terry in complying with past practice. Thank you.
Council President.
Councilor Terry.
And I will also say that I know, continuing on Councilor Farino's mention of tradition, if nothing else, I know the town manager has in the past said many times, just because we've done something in the past in Winthrop doesn't make it right. But I know Resident Bob Wynn, who is the chairman of the Finance Commission, and to me, one of the most respected people in Winthrop, is very much a rules follower and feels very strongly that we should be voting on this budget by June 15th. He has been chairman of the Finance Commission for 15 years, and he was an integral part to the advisory committee before that. I think we should respect his wishes as well and respect his honor of the charter and his interpretation of it. So I ask that we approve this motion to move it to Monday, the 15th.
Any other council want to be heard? Okay. Let's take a roll call vote. That motion was seconded. Is that correct, Jim? By whom?
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion's been made by Councilor Terry and seconded by Councilor Farino to move the meeting to overrule the rules and have the meeting on the 15th rather than the 16th.
Ruggiero.
No.
Council Flockhart.
No.
Council DeMarco.
Yes.
Council Christopher.
No.
Council Honan.
Yes.
Council Farino.
Yes.
Councilor Conti.
No.
Vice President Lettieri.
Yes.
President Boncory.
No.
2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. So it is 1, 2, 3. No, it does not pass.
If motion is defeated, the meeting will be held according to the rules on the 16th, and we will vote on the budget on that night. Okay, so be prepared. All right, one more thing under new business. I don't know if all of you have this. It might have been an add-on to the agenda, and it's about the senior tax work program. And the motion was submitted by me, and I move that the town council suspend the senior tax work-off for this year due to safety reasons or take any other action relative thereto. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. This motion came in from me through Denise because we have an obligation, and I guess we got an opinion from Tom McEnany from KMP that it would not be a good idea to have seniors coming into contact with public, which they usually given the jobs to do during the COVID situation. Is that correct, Denise? I mean,
Yes,
you had a comment.
yes, and it can be referred to finance.
Okay. Motion to refer that senior tax work off for this year to the Finance Committee. Okay,
Motion.
all in favor of sending it to Finance Committee? Please take a roll call.
Council Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart,
Yes.
Council DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Council LeConte,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Now we have public comment, a second round of public comment. Again, the number to call in is 312-626-6799. The ID number to get on is 869-875-43603. Public comment is now open. Do we have anyone waiting, Larissa?
Yes, we have a couple folks with their hands up. The town clerk has just sent a message to me, just reminding the folks that are newly nominated to the Charter Review Committee to email her office to schedule an appointment to be sworn in.
Okay, that's right. Since town hall is not open every day, please send an email and set up an appointment to be sworn in, and someone will be there to get you in and get you sworn in.
Right, it's town.clerk@town.winthrop.ma.us. And somebody will respond and get back to you, schedule a time.
Thank you.
We have Wendy Millar Page back on.
Right.
Hi there, it's Wendy Millar Page. We had forwarded to the council, the Horribles Parade Committee, a letter that you all had said you would be putting on the agenda this week after getting some input from the Board of Health regarding whether or not we would be hosting 4th of July activities. And I didn't see it on the agenda, so I'm just asking if any movement has been made so the committee itself can do some preparation or get the word out to folks that yay or nay or whatever the decision has been.
Okay. The Board of Health did meet. They did send a recommendation to the council saying that there should be no public celebrations by the town for the 4th of July. However, I mean, we have been having car parades for birthdays, for graduating seniors, and so on. The Horribles Parade, I know, is run by a private committee. It's not a public town of Winthrop event, but it's hosted by the private Point Shirley Association committee. So, you know, I suppose if you socially distance, if you wear masks, you could have a car parade and, you know, maybe even a spaced out Horribles Parade. However, it would have to be following social distancing and masking and so on. But you could not have the celebration down at the park at the end because it would be too many people in one area. And I don't think it would be advisable to have, you know, the foot races, the pole climbing, the blueberry pie eating contest. But, you know, I don't see you not being able to have privately sponsored car parade, float parade, spaced out on the morning.
Okay, so the Board of Health said it's not the best idea. So what I'll do is bring that information back to the other folks in the committee, and we will
The Board of Health has said that they are recommending no public celebrations, meaning the town doing a public celebration or having a fireworks, which would be run by the town.
President Boncory.
Any other councilors want to be heard on that issue?
Yeah, President Boncory.
Yes. Who is that?
Councilor Flockhart.
Okay, go ahead, Barbara.
I believe the governor also recommended no celebrations for 4th of July.
Okay, anyone else? Is there anyone else on public comment?
Yes, we have William Rice again.
Okay.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, Bill.
I just have a question. Earlier this evening, you voted to send the parking pilot program to the Public Safety Committee for review. And I'm ignorant of the process here. Is there any idea of how long it would take for it to be in committee? And when it comes out of committee, will there be a public hearing?
Yeah, yes, it would be a public hearing on it. If it comes out, it's a motion already. A motion's been made, so we can't pass an ordinance without a public hearing. So it's been sent to the committee for a recommendation to come back and give to the council. You can attend the subcommittee meetings. They are public, they are open, and they should be posted as to when the public safety committee will meet. Barbara Flockhart is the chairman of that committee. Barbara, do you have an idea when you will meet?
I'll have to, poll the committee and find out when they're available, but we'll try to do it this week.
Oh, okay. So it will be sooner than later. That was my.
It'll be sooner than later, and it's posted. It will be within, the 2 weeks between now and the 16th, whether it's this week or the following week, but it'll be before the 16th.
Okay, I appreciate your time. Thank you.
You're welcome. Anyone else on public comment?
We have a couple callers, and let me just click on to see if they have anything to add.
Hi, Larissa. Thank you.
You're welcome. Go ahead.
Hi, who is
it's
this?
Keith. Yeah, it's Keith Manning from Precinct 3.
Hi,
Nick's.
Keith. How are you, Keith?
Yeah, I'm doing well. I've been here 20 years, and I've been listening to Bill Rice. The public landing and, the club has nothing to do with it because the club is a private club and the landing's owned by the state.
Correct.
We're talking about from the turn where the red house is all the way down the point. All the parking and everything else that's going on down here, it's overwhelmed us. This isn't anything new. This has been going on for ever since I've been here as a homeowner. Yeah, and it's just frustrating on that end. And I like it. Yeah, and I know Barbara Flockhart personally.
Okay.
So I will.
That's true.
Yeah, we'll definitely, when this meeting stuff, we'll get involved with it.
Okay. There will be a subcommittee meeting. As you know, I grew up down the point myself at the end of my adult high school years. I was a Point resident and have always been down there.
Yes, yes. But tomorrow, and the other thing I want to do a shout out with Rose is the VSO. We got the food bank tomorrow, so if anybody in Winthrop wants to put some food donation for the veterans, would be appreciated.
Okay. All right. If you missed the beginning of the meeting, I announced that and I like to do it again just so people know, the Winthrop Foundation donated $26,000 today.
I'm sorry?
The Winthrop Foundation donated $26,000 in food vouchers from different stores in Winthrop. From every restaurant in Winthrop was given $750 worth of gift certificates, and they can be picked up from Mia Mori, the Veterans Food Bank at 617-846-3065. That's what Keith's talking about. And at the Winthrop Community Food Pantry at 222 Bowden Street, which is 846-6884. We want no one in Winthrop to be hungry. please, if you're out of work and you're not getting some kind of stimulus package and you need food, please call one of those 3 projects to get free food.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Anyone else on public comment?
We have another caller that I'm going to pick over. Hi, caller with the last 3 digits, 083. Do you have any public comment?
Yes, I got a question probably for Steve Fowler.
Who's calling?
Doug Chalmers, 357 Pleasant Street.
Okay.
Hi, Steve. I got a question regarding the sinkhole that's on the Pleasant Street between Waldemar and Palmyra. It was a water line that the town worked on several times, and it's sinking again. And I've seen around town, the town departments going around fixing these other work projects that have been dug up in the street. I was wondering, any chance of having somebody come by and take a look at that sinkhole? Because it's rattling not only my house, but my neighbor's house also. And part 2 of the question is, with the sidewalk repair, the sidewalk going down from Waldemar to Palmyra is in horrible shape, and I've seen dozens of sidewalks being fixed throughout the town on little side streets in this. And Pleasant Street's a very busy street for pedestrians, being mothers pushing carriages and people on bikes. Is there any way somebody could take a look at it and maybe, give us an idea if there's any hope of getting that fixed?
Absolutely. We've actually looked at both of them already. The sinkhole or the settlement of that patch it was a sewer repair, and it was done probably about 5 years ago. We will be doing an inspection dig on that. It's towards the center lane, so it's just got to be something that we get planned, get a couple of detail officers out there. Probably looking at the beginning of fiscal year with the new budget. The sidewalks are in the database. Again, the sidewalks that you see them being repaired, it does go through a grading process. And we do have a good amount of funds each year for that. I will do my best to get that repair on the contract, but again, it's a graded list. So it's, by hazard. So you may see a lot of cracking if there's not lifts or a trip hazard. It doesn't grade as high as something that's in danger. But we will, again, we will address them both. Probably the sewer problem a little bit quicker than that sidewalk issue.
Okay, thank you very much. And your department does a great job, by the way.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comment?
I don't see any other callers on the line, and I don't see any hands up from any of the folks on Zoom.
Was that a person?
No, I think it's somebody moved in their chair.
Okay.
Eagle. I thought it was an eagle.
Hearing no other public comment. I see something flashing. Oh, that's Barbara? Did someone just flash on?
I laughed.
Okay.
At the eagle.
Council President Colleen Murphy just put her hand up.
Okay, I also see there's questions and answers that have come in while we were on that nobody's answered yet. So I'm going to read those just so that they're on the record. One was from Laura Plummer saying, why isn't law enforcement enforcing the new rules for beach gatherings? Next one is from Jen, who says, no enforcement on the beach and constant blocking of my driveway near Coughlin for parking to go to the beach. Another one from Laura Plummer saying, is Sergeant Gregorian in line for promotion to the position currently occupied by Lieutenant Dalrymple? And another one, I'll want a correction regarding the clerical error. Okay, those are the comments. And I guess the one that needed the question answered was, is Lieutenant Gregarian, Sergeant Gregarian in line, and that's yes? Okay. Any other one? Said someone else. Chief, you want to talk about the beach?
Sure, if you'd like me to. So
Just about the enforcement. I know that we've had a police officer and sometimes a police officer and firemen driving up and down that beach.
Yeah, so it's a complicated answer, and because the Winthrop Euro Beach does not fall on the state jurisdiction but local jurisdiction, the advisory issued by the governor only was for state beaches and not local beaches. The Board of Health chose to take no action at their meeting to adopt and didn't feel it was necessary, but Meredith Hurley had received advisories after that meeting saying that those beach rules were only for state-owned and controlled beaches. So we're asking people for their cooperation. We do have a firefighter and a police officer down there on the Polaris. Many people have been in compliant, but don't forget, if they're 6 feet apart, they do not need masks. If they're from the same family, they do not need to wear masks if they're sitting together. So people automatically assume everyone needs a mask. That's not the case down on the beach, on any beach. So it's a really complicated situation because Euro Beach just does not fall under the state guidelines. And then we got that guidance from DPH after the fact, after the Board of Health meeting, saying that those guidelines were only for state-controlled and owned beaches. So we're left in nowhere's land, but we have been getting cooperation and people have been separating upon their request. So the police officer and firefighter are only there until hopefully Parks and Rec spins up their Massport help, and then will be replaced by Massport paid summer workers, and will support those frontline summer workers. Again, part of the governor's request was not to have police officers doing the enforcement. So we still would rather have a civilian on the front line with law enforcement support to be consistent with his orders.
Terry, I think we read those governor's orders and I adopted them as a town rule for that beach as well. So at least that was with the intent. Yeah, I believe.
I must have missed that vote, Phil.
Yeah. It wasn't a vote, it was just an executive order, but that's okay. They did a good job. I know the first day before the beach was actually open, when which was what, the 24th or so, that there were people on the beach, and police officers did go down. The beach was not open yet, and they did chase people off the beach, and they made everyone leave. So they did enforce it that day. But now the beach is open, and it should be following the governor's protocols, and protocols that we put in effect, which are the same. Okay, any other public comment?
Yes, Colleen Murphy is waiting.
Colleen.
Hi, just a point of interest. I think I've told you before, I've walked Deer Island since the pandemic started because I could socially distance there. And the parking lot is now open, but they're not removing the cones on the strand there. So there's no parking there. So that might be another reason why there's so many people. And to Tracy's about nurses, I've been a visiting nurse for 40 years, and a lot of times in Boston. And most visiting nursing agencies have a placard that you can put in your car. And I have called the police department to let them know that I'm a visiting nurse, and it's never been a problem for me. So there's ways around that. But I didn't know if anybody was aware that they're not removing the cones. So there's very limited parking down Deer Island now, even though it's open. But I really wanted to ask you, the last meeting, there was a lot of discussion about the water bill and about possibly delaying it and not doing it July 1st. I didn't hear any discussion about that.
It's not on the council agenda. It is something that the town manager will decide on and report on himself. The town council has no say in the water bill.
Oh, okay, because there was a lot of discussion between the council, some of the councilmen and women, the last meeting. To just, I know it has to go up, but not to do it now during the pandemic. So I guess it's a mute issue that you don't have any say in the matter, I guess.
Council President?
Yes.
I will say on seeing Colleen here, and I was going to bring it up in the next section under public relations, but there was a very interesting article that I discussed with Colleen a little bit about, and not sure the exact website, but if you Google Charlestown Bridge, one word, MWR rates, there's a very interesting article concerning the rates and what the some of the MWA's discussion about them and how this COVID situation has affected usage throughout the MWRA community. So I encourage people to take a look at that. Again, Google Charlestown Bridge, one word, MWR rates. And I thank Colleen Murphy for bringing that to my attention.
Okay, thank you. Colleen, do you have anything else to say?
Nope. Just thank you all for your hard work.
Okay, thank you for calling in. Anyone else?
No, sir, that's it.
Okay, hearing nothing. Public relations. Did anyone have any comments? Stephen?
Yeah, I'd like to let everyone in Precinct 6 know that this Saturday at 10 a.m. I will be hosting a virtual coffee and conversation. So if anyone would like to join, information on that will be found on the town's website. And please bring your own coffee, as we will be doing this virtually from each other's homes. So I hope to hear from my Precinct 6 constituents then.
Okay. Anyone else have any public comments? Camarco, do you have something to say?
No, I was pointing virtually at Steve.
Oh, okay.
We're in the same precinct.
Okay. Anyone else? Hearing none, then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right, motion been made and second to adjourn. Would you please take a roll call vote? Any discussion on that? Hearing none, please take a roll call vote.
Ruggiero,
Yes.
Council Flockhart, Councilor DeMarco,
Yes.
Council Christopher,
Yes.
Council Honan,
Yes.
Council Farino,
Yes.
Councilor Conti,
Yes.
Vice President Lettieri,
Yes.
President Boncory.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Motion is passed. We are adjourned. Please stay safe, Winthrop. Don't think this is over. Please stay safe. Social distance, wear your mask, wash your hands, and please don't have groups of 50 people on the beach playing ball together. Please don't. Okay, thank you.
Good night.
Motion is adjourned.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.